Hello, everyone. We're waiting for more participants to join, so we'll be waiting a couple minutes. Okay, we'll be ready to start in a bit. All right, I think we can get started, right? So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by Child Protection Hub and ESD Albania in order to share with you some of the developments that have taken place in Albania regarding the program of empowerment self-defense and how this program has been integrated in schools, in public schools there. I am very glad to see all the participants' names. Some of them are familiar to me, some are new. So let me introduce briefly myself. My name is Gentiana Susai, and I am a human rights lawyer. I have been working for many years on anti-human trafficking and refugee protection in Europe and in Latin America. I am also a black belt in Aikido, which is a Japanese martial art. And since 2019, I have been working mainly on developing ESD programs or empowerment self-defense programs in Europe, and particularly in Albania. I'm very glad to be representing today the work we have been doing in the last 5 years, a joint project with UN Women, financed by the government of Sweden, in collaboration with Ministry of Education and Ministry of Children and Youth in Albania, as well as with other partners such as ESD Global or Impact Global that have been collaborating with us in order to make it to the point where we are today. Today, I would like to share with you some information about the role of empowerment self-defense as a key violence prevention program. Secondly, I will focus on giving a summary of the process of integrating empowerment self-defense in Albania's youth policy as an extracurricular activity in public schools. This is the first experience as such in Europe, and we are happy to share how did we manage to do this. The third is some information about our experience in scaling up and scaling out. It means how we came up with a specific program for Albania and how did we develop it, including the training of trainers component and its implementation later on. As some of you know, empowerment self-defense has been used for over a century by feminists to defend their bodily integrity and assert their right to citizenship. There have been years and years of practice. It has been more at individual level, at professionals level, at an organizations or a dojos level, but there are very few experiences or very few success stories where these programs have been inserted into a policy document or in a more sustainable system that has allowed better access from women especially, but also from all genders to this kind of program. Also, there has been less documented or acknowledgement in the work that empowerment self-defense does when it comes to violence prevention. Usually, for many years, it has been neglected as a prevention intervention, but in the last decade, there has been a resurgence of provision and research, especially in the United States. The evidence to date suggests that empowerment self-defense is a promising practice and that it should be included as a measure for violence prevention. There are numerous studies that indicate this. In practice, from the assessments and the evaluations that have been done, it is actually a practice that it's rarely institutionalized, it's poorly financed and misunderstood in much of Europe. And this is from the study conducted by the European Parliament in 2016. I have shaped in the form of a vehicle the three wheels that we need, and these three wheels will be in the center of the presentation today, that are elements that are important in order for a program to be implemented and executed properly. That is institutionalization, resources, and proper understanding. We'll start with the understanding. I don't know if some of you are new to empowerment self-defense, so I will explain that ESD is a comprehensive, evidence-based system of violence prevention that takes a holistic approach to self-defense and violence prevention by focusing on empowerment. Empowerment self-defense is different from martial arts. It's different from the traditional self-defense. That is why the focus is empowerment. There are several elements that makes it different. Mainly, it has been shaped as we know it today in the 70s, and it has proven to reduce the incidence of abuse by teaching how to recognize abuse, coercion, and boundary violations, how to communicate assertively and advocate for oneself under stress, and how to physically protect oneself from violence perpetrated by strangers and familiar people. The system of empowerment self-defense has been designed to avoid danger and de-escalate conflict, increase confidence, increase self-efficacy in problem solving, build physical self-defense skills, and also address violence that is most likely to occur in individual settings or interpersonal relationships, independently where the setting is. It can be in schools or domestic or workplace. Some of the results indicate that 50% of the students that have participated in ESD trainings have less likelihood of rape, victimization, or attack of any sort. They have less likelihood of experiencing depression or alcohol abuse. 46% of them are more likely to finish school, and 52% have used skills to stop an assault on another person, what we call the bystander intervention. So these are some of the results for a better understanding of the methodology, but also of the impact that it brings when it's implemented. The 5 principles explain its holistic approach. This is, the 5 principles are think, yell, run, fight, tell, and I won't be very technical in explaining all of them today, but just to say that the whole methodology is ensembled in a way that helps participants to be trained when it comes to the options they have to identify, interrupt, respond, and heal from violence. And the methodology we use is through games, activities, and discussion groups. And all of it, it's in order to raise awareness of injustices, but also give practical tools that the students can use later on. The empowerment self-defense that has been developed in the last years it remains holistic. But what we have done is that we have made it accessible to all genders and also different age groups. So it is not only for women. And the theory of change with empowerment self-defense, which focuses not just on safety, but on freedom, it's summarized in these bullet points in the same study of the European Parliament that I mentioned before. So we have the threat and reality of violence against women, which limits women's freedom. Many women and girls fear the wrong people or context. Accurate information is empowerment through knowledge. Women and girls should be less compliant and trust their instinct. And this requires building confidence in voice, strength, and the right to defend one's bodily integrity. And this is what empowerment self-defense brings. When it comes to the resources, which is the second point that I want to focus now, is in our case in Albania, we have, as I mentioned, we have been implementing our program in partnership with UN Women since 2019. And with financial support by the government of Sweden. We've had other partners as well, which such as ESD Global Self-Defense, that was also co-financing in the first years. El Halev, which is another NGO that have been supporting us with their expertise on these programs. And this is one of the examples that is on the list. But as you see, there have been more programs, more projects that have been implemented in the last years and funded or partnered with different UN agencies or other entities. When it comes to the institutionalization, we believe this is a very important and key element that should be included if we want to make empowerment self-defense accessible to all children and youth. And for that, we need a program that is adaptable to the context of the country, scalable, sustainable, and cost-effective. So this is the second point that I wanted to share with you when it comes to some insights into how did we manage to integrate ESD into the national strategy for youth in Albania and its implementation in 60 public schools. The steps you see on the screen are the key elements or the key steps that we took in order to arrive where we are today. So empowerment self-defense was introduced in Albania in 2019 for the very first time. And in the first 2 years, as you can see, one of the aspects of our work was to analyze where was the best spot where we could insert ESD in the institutional system in Albania in order to make it accessible to as many people as possible. And at the same time, what age was the most appropriate and the most needed for people to learn these tools that are for personal safety. And the conclusion was pretty much unanimous. Schools were the priority, and the age of the children could be from as early as possible. Once we did this analysis and looking for the partnerships I mentioned and so on, we did the first training of teachers that was in 2021. We had teachers from 9 schools in Albania. And then these teachers implemented a pilot project, which was to teach ESD to their students, a program which goes followed by a mentoring program for the following year after the training. While this project was being implemented in the 9 schools during that academic year, what we did was a campaign, a national awareness campaign, where we went to 12 cities in the country in order to introduce this program to the groups of women, girls, to different institutions that would participate in our events, in order to understand what's the program about, what are its benefits, but also experience it and have a hands-on approach in when it comes to understanding it better, in order to understand it better. So this awareness raising and this allowed us to have more support when it comes to the other steps that we're going to follow. At the end of the first pilot year in the 9 schools, what we did was we documented the impact of the experience. We have a study which is available if someone wants to have it or ask for it. And that is the study where we identified what was the impact, what were the lessons learned, what were the recommendations coming from the teachers, from the schools, from the community in general, but also from the students. Based on this experience, we worked closely with Ministry of Children and Youth and also Ministry of Education in order to prepare what was coming next. That was the National Strategy for Children and Youth, that is for 2022-2029. And in the meantime, what we did was we strengthened our team of trainers. It was first time that we organized a level 2 training of trainers that enabled us to have a fully national Albanian team that would be able to work on and tailor this ESD program to our context and to the specific intervention that we were preparing, inserting it in the public schools. After the national strategy, of course, it was the next step was the ministerial instruction, which is needed in these cases in order to recognize and to put ESD as an extracurricular activities. And we started in the first 60 schools. Last year in January, in 2023, we trained the first 60 teachers. We had 1 teacher from each school. And the training was in person, and then followed with mentorship in order to continue their learning, and that is a process that is still ongoing. It is ongoing the advocacy, it's ongoing the awareness raising campaign. We're going to have another one this year, and the mentoring and the field visits that we have been organizing in order to support the teachers in this work. From all this process, we have 4 main areas where we have been focusing. So first of all, is the institutionalization, and that means the importance of key partnerships with the ministries, with UN Women, with the government of Sweden, all the advocacy efforts that we've been taking and the awareness campaigns that have helped for the purpose or for the aim of our project. Secondly, is the expertise and adaptability. So we worked on strengthening the national team. We tailored a specific program that we are very proud of because we have been working 5 years now on what we have today, and it's ESD Albania's signature ESD program. And we were working in a way of scaling out instead of scaling up. There are several organizations in Europe, at least that I know more, that have been teaching martial arts or teaching empowerment trainings in the schools. Normally, it's their instructors that go to the schools and do the teaching. What we opted in Albania is to, instead of scaling up, is scaling out, meaning we were handing over the methodology to the teachers for them to continue the training or the teaching in the schools. The third component is the capacity building, as I already explained, and that means not only training and then sending the teachers to their schools, but we also went to the schools, co-taught with them, as well as mentored them throughout the process, which usually takes from 1 year to 2 years, depending on the resources, of course. And the fourth component, which is monitoring and documentation, we all know how important is that to be ongoing and to go polishing the methodology in terms of data collection and how is that presented to the authorities in order to continue with this circle of continuous learning, using the lessons learned and building and improving our steps into the implementation of the project. From this experience, I want to share briefly some of the results so far. So we have been in the schools from 2021 to 2023 through the teachers. And there have been more than 3,000 students that have participated in the training sessions. The positive changes that have been indicated have been in attitudes, behavior, perceptions regarding conflict resolutions, communication models with parents, teachers and peers, assertive thinking in assessing situations and responding to such situations. Students consider ESD-trained teachers as more reliable, trusting, and supportive. And this is very important because it creates better communication with them and they feel safer with them. On the other hand, teachers have reported that they have had improvements not only in their professional life, but also in their personal life after completing the ESD program. When it comes to the community engagement, that is important because in the schools we have now, there have been 56 ESD clubs established, but the work is not only in the ESD clubs. The work has gone beyond them. There has been community engagement when it comes to the involvement of other teachers from the same school, and there you have some numbers. Also, 23% of ESD teachers have included parents in informational activities or other awareness-raising events. And 20% of the teachers have conducted ESD information or awareness sessions for the community that is outside school. There have been cases where they have involved also whole neighborhoods or other institutions, etc., and that means reaching more people. 99% of the teachers who participated in the focus groups that we conducted, including their school principals, consider empowerment self-defense as a powerful violence prevention strategy and an effective anti-bullying mechanism to be introduced in the schools and in the curriculum. And that is our aspiration. From some results, from some survey we did this last February, this is like fresh results. We selected a group of 16 teachers to see where are we with with the trainings and with the sessions that they are conducting. And it results that 94% of them indicate that students have an increase in confidence. Over 50% of students have used techniques that they have learned in order to improve their situation, including boys intervening to prevent bullying and harassment from other boys or other students. 50% of the students have carried out activism in their communities. And in 15 out of 16 ESD clubs that we interviewed, teachers have noticed that behaviors such as shouting, blaming, cursing, insulting, and other of the kind have significantly decreased among students that have been participating in this club. And this is very important data that we have been collecting in order to show how important it is to include this as a violence prevention mechanism. Okay, so we've seen until now, we have seen what is empowerment self-defense and the elements that we need in order to develop it in a sustainable way. I have explained some of our experience when it comes to the process and the results that we have so far. And this is the last and third point of my presentation, where I want to explain how ESD Albania, we have been reframing empowerment self-defense for schools and some of the methodological aspects and the way how we have been spreading this, including the training of trainers process. This is a very complete list of the key components that we've been using for the training of trainers. As you can see on the left side of the screen, we have the 3 in-person meetings, which are level 1, what we call level 1A, level 1B, and the level 1C in the form of a refresher or a summer camp. And these are the 3 events that are recommended for one teacher in order to be certified as a empowerment self-defense instructor. However, if the teachers go only to the level 1A, that still gives them sufficient tools for them to start and facilitate and teach in their ESD clubs. The level 1A is recommended to be 24 hours of training, and that has been and that is continued afterwards with the other components that you see that is having access to a support team. Our support team does the online coaching, co-teach in person, and conducts the field visits where we go and visit the teachers in the schools. Again, this is depending on the resources, of course, and there has been always a need to do that more, actually, in practice. The second component is very important, is the supportive community that is facilitated and is strengthened among teachers who participate in this program, that has become a very vivid network where the ESD teachers have been coming together, sharing tools, sharing knowledge, sharing experiences in a very safe space, and it has helped and nurtured their growth as ESD instructors. And besides this, we have been working on what we call support materials, which is the instructor's manual that the teachers receive from the first level A training. They receive also samples of class plans. We want to set them for success, so we have procured to give them as much information as possible and walk with them through this process. We also distributed what we call ESD kits, which is a set of materials that they need in order to teach in the schools. And the fourth is audiovisual materials. We have been preparing instructors, video explanations, also video tutorials where we have been recording and explaining some of the activities that we use but not just this is the game or this is the exercise, but explaining also why we're doing this, what are the objectives, what are the key issues we want to discuss, and so on. So it has been a complete material, which, in other words, the whole process we can translate into this big wheel, as you can see. So we have the implementation of the program in the schools activated by the level 1A. Then it continues the digital education, while there are several activities that take place later on. Not only the training level B or the refresher camp, that is the third meeting in person, but also involving community, the establishment of ESD clubs, the other school events where ESD clubs participate or students organize and present there. And also this year we're starting with youth exchange, where we'll facilitate meetings of groups coming from the different schools so that they know each other in person and they are able to share more information or to learn from each other and so on. So this is a very dynamic and very complex coordination, but it has resulted to be very useful and very effective when it comes to the continuous growth and learning that the teachers need, and therefore the students will benefit. As closing remarks, empowerment self-defense has been proven as an effective violence prevention tool and an educational need for children and youth. The inclusion of ESD in relevant policies and national action plans at the national level and budget allocation is needed in order to make it accessible to all children and youth. It is needed also to establish pedagogy and minimum quality standards as a key element of comprehensive measures for the prevention of violence against women and violence in general. And fourth, our experience is a replicable model, and that allows to tailor and develop a program that can be adaptable, scalable, sustainable, and cost-effective. So this is in a general way what we have been developing. I hope that this connects to your work, and thank you very much for participating. And I encourage you to put any comments or any questions on the chat where we can continue the conversation together. Thank you very much to some of you that have been writing. Thank you, Daniela, for your comments, and I know you're interested and you're working to bring this model in Romania. Should you have any questions, please don't be shy. You can write it down on the chat. I want also to mention here that we have another representative from No Means No Worldwide, that is another organization that has been working mainly in Africa, bringing ESD to communities there. And they have also tailored specific programs for children and youth from 10 to 20. And this is the power of networking, so that we can exchange experiences and learn from each other and manage to make this possible and accessible for as many youth and youngsters that are in our countries. Yes, good. I have some questions. Great. All right. So the first question I received here is, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, is Rastal, uh, Rastal Garçon. Uh, if this program is only for girls, and do you have a specific age? Thank you for the question. Very important. So this is for public schools, and there we have all genders. So depending on the teacher, there are some groups that have only girls, and there are some other groups that have only boys, and there are other groups that have boys and girls in the same group. When I say group, is the ESD clubs. So it has been on case-by-case basis, but the program itself, it is for all genders. And we've been giving specifications to the teachers regarding components that can be age-specific or gender-specific. What does that mean? It means that our program is being implemented for students from 4th grade to the 12th grade. And depending on the teacher, we've been giving specific information how to transmit the tools of ESD to children that are 10 years old or 12 years old, and then that is different if we're working with youngsters that are 16, 18, right? So we have made that differentiation. When it comes to boys and girls, also there we have some specifics. For instance, in the case of girls, what we are giving more tools of self-defense, be it communication skills, be it physical skills. And then when it comes to boys, we are stressing a lot the importance of respecting boundaries. So it is not just how to defend yourself. This is what I call ESD is the form of, is like a regulator. It means we are educating, we are teaching children and youth not only to defend their boundaries and to set their boundaries, but also to respect somebody else's boundaries. And that is needed in order to have healthy relationships. So that is please ask more if you need more information regarding the age and the gender. What we also have about age, it's that for children that are younger, we have, for instance, less physical skills, and we are more focused on understanding the importance and the meaning of personal space, of what is the privacy and the body, and several components and verbal skills. But then, as children get older, we go adding more and more physical technique skills. What is also important to mention is that upon request from the Ministry of Education, what we had to do for our program is we had to reduce a lot all techniques that involve strikes. And that is because of liability issues that schools normally are reluctant. And yeah, we had to reduce some of the physical skills that we teach in usual empowerment self-defense programs that would be out of school, for instance. Yes, I have another message from Croatia. Hi, Croatia. The question is, will you be able to provide a PDF confirmation of participation for us after the webinar? I guess, yes, this is more from Child Protection Hub, but yes, I guess we can give a confirmation of participation. Daniela Draghici from Romania is asking, how did you motivate the school gatekeepers to buy into your concept and vision? Yes, I think it's, yeah, what I was saying is that when you are with the right friends, like you go together hand in hand with the right friends, your chance of success is higher, right? So the fact that our program is being implemented in partnership with a UN organization such as UN Women, we invited representatives and the ministers to visit our training events and hear from the participants, from the teachers, what was the process about, what is empowerment self-defense, because many people think it's only physical skills. So we gave them the chance not just to go in meetings and talk, but they were coming, participating, experiencing, talking to the participants, and seeing by themselves what does empowerment self-defense bring. And that, I think, was crucial in convincing them on the value of the program. And then we took all the necessary steps, like in any other advocacy initiative, like what is needed in order to have all the data in place, all the model that how can you introduce this into the schools? Is it a good quality program? How can you make sure that the quality remains no matter how many teachers you train? Because we have been training, I would say, a big number of teachers in a short time, and that was the first time we did that. So all that helped in order to convince them and understand, and then accept in order to make it part of the strategy, of the national strategy for youth in Albania. Thank you, Daniela. Yes, there are greetings from Spain. Hi, Alicia. Alicia is from ESD Spain, and we're partnering together. And yes, I agree. She says, let's hope we can do something like this in Spain. And yes, I cheer for that as well. Thank you, Kevin, for your comment as well. And all right. So there are no more questions, but please keep writing if something comes up. And in the meantime, I would invite you to check the questions that are on the screen. We are interested to know if you would like to learn more about ESD and how to deliver it in your community. And secondly, if you are interested in exploring partnerships for the project of ESD in schools. So depending on where you are, what your profile is, what's the organization you work with, etc. So would be happy to continue the conversation after this webinar. Okay, you have 1 more minute, so you can answer. In the meantime, I want to greet Magnola Lana, who's one of the teachers participating in our program. She's one of the most active teachers. Some of the pictures you saw during the presentation are from her school, from her work, and she has been with us this afternoon. And we are very lucky that she's part of our network and working together in this. Yeah. Okay. So good. So the poll time has finished. So we have some answers. I'm happy that several from the group are interested in learning how to deliver ESD to children and to young people. And also some others, or maybe the same, are interested in exploring possibilities of partnerships. So you have there my email address, and also you can follow ESD Albania and ESD Europe on social media, and please reach out and let's continue this conversation. And I'm happy to share with you more information, more materials, some of the videos that we have which reflect the work we've been doing. There is on our YouTube channel, there is a short documentary of our piloting of ESD in schools, where you also can see some feedback from the participants from the training, as well as from representatives of the ministries and the UN Women and the government of Sweden. So I can share all that, all those links. So just drop me an email and I will be happy to answer. Okay, we have one more last request, which is to share the PowerPoint. I will discuss with colleagues from the Child Protection Hub in order to send the PowerPoint to all the participants via email. Thank you. Yes. Okay. All right. So I think we can go wrapping up. And I want to thank you very much for participating, for being together today. It has been a pleasure to share with you this afternoon. I call my colleagues from Child Hub in case they want to say a word, or we just, yeah? Okay. So, all right. So then let's go saying goodbye, and please write to me a message in case you're interested to continue the conversation, and we will be sending the PowerPoint presentation gladly. And I want to thank you again, Child Protection Hub, for organizing this webinar, and I'm happy to come back as many times as needed. So I wish to you a very nice afternoon, and best luck and best of success in your work. And I hope, really hope, that we can collaborate in making ESD accessible to all girls and boys wherever they are. So thank you, and see you soon somewhere.